Hello, welcome. This is a very specific reading that I've gotten a call to do. It's going to be a pick a card reading. I'm going to pick 3 cards for each pile, and they're all going to be from the Starseed Oracle. And it's a reading that is particularly for people who are looking for clarity on their creative purpose, life path, or spiritual mission. So if you're having certain ideas or things are like resonating out of alignment with a lot of the ways that you've been making money for most of your life and want to start doing other things, this reading is for you. So 3 cards, 3 piles. Pick the pile ahead of time, intuitively, 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so the 3 cards are going to be the biggest focus. What is your biggest area of focus? What area will it benefit you to focus on the most right now? And right now is the next 3 weeks. Second card is going to be what's the biggest area that needs attention to remove the obstacles that are keeping you in the same place, or the biggest area of improvement. And then the third card is going to be what can you expect moving into 2024? But if you don't want to look at it that way, it can just be general advice. All right, so I'm going to shuffle a lot, and then I'm going to just pull 3 cards off the top for each pile. And if you don't want to watch the whole reading, you can look at the description box for timestamps. I'm going to do a longer collective reading over the next couple of days. I have a lot of messages. I have so many messages coming through. Solar plexus and throat chakra are going through really big activations right now. Blue and yellow, if you see those colors, or if you're working on anything related to those 2 energy centers, having those colors on you or around you could be good. I'm going to go into that a little bit more. So I'm not going to talk too much about it, but song synchronicities too. The Circle Game by Joni Mitchell, that's a song that my parents loved. They always had it going. I mean, they must have, because I couldn't remember what that was. Okay, I channeled that song. It was coming into my mind. There's a part where it's like, I go round and round in a circle game, and the up and down part with the ponies. These lyrics were like wafting through my brain for like 2 days, and then I Googled them and I was like, oh, Joni Mitchell. Yeah, I remember this song. And it was funny. So funny what music does with the memory, and how it has these core locked memories. Sound, can trigger memory just like scent can. Scent being our number 1 of the 5 senses that is affiliated with memory recall. That's why teachers give children peppermints when they're prepping for standardized testing. And again, they are provided the same peppermints when they are taking the test to improve their scores. At least that's what they did at my school. There's a meme of a chihuahua, and he's like zoned out. There's like helicopters and like the Pythagorean theorem or whatever. And that was me listening to the Circle Game after I figured out what song it was, because there's so many memories from my childhood that were like floating through my mind. So Circle Game by Joni Mitchell came out of nowhere. And then You're Still the One by Shania Twain, which unlocked a whole other Shania Twain thing. Shania Twain has been like on my mind a lot lately. I think I was probably 9 or 10, and I saved up $19.99 to go to FYE and buy the red album. It was called Up. Well, there was 2 CDs. The red one was the pop version. The green one was the country one. And I was like, no, pop version. And I listened to that album over and over and over again when I was a kid. I was listening to it after I was hearing You're Still the One, because that's not even from that album. But anyway, those are my songs from the past few days. Okay, I'm going to get into this. I started making lists of things and channeled messages. Oh, very excited. If you have looked at the website that I made, then I'm going to be building it out, as I've mentioned. currently it just has a homepage with a little bio about me, and then it has a mission, which has like my full mission for healing work basically, and why I talk and do the things that I do. And then it has an overview of the services, or at this point just the 3 mini readings that I'm offering. And then the meme gallery. And the meme gallery is going to turn into something called Explore. It's going to be an Explore page. It's going to live under that menu option. And there's going to be 3 other, that was funny, 3 other things on the menu. Deep dives, where the Barbie thing and the American Dream is going to live, where you can go and like, basically there'll be like other links to other landing pages where you can scroll through, watch videos, click on things. It's going to be like a guided journey. So the deep dives, and then a shop eventually, the meme gallery, and I'd like to have some inspiration of like other things, like my artwork, but then artwork that I just repost, like an online gallery of people that inspire me. But who knows? That's where it's at now. Okay. Yeah, and then I'm continuing to get a lot of information regarding the transition of energy, how it's going to feel and manifest, how it's going to affect our personal journeys, but also our collective feelings. Been getting a lot of information about that. So that's probably going to be a video and a reading when the time comes, just like, you know, usually, but then I'll also do some type of update on the website, and I'll post everything when I get to that. Okay, I'm going to ring the chime. Okay, oopsie, that one was flipped up. Pile 1. Wait, card 1, card 2, card 3. Card 1, card 2, card 3, pile 2, card 1, card 2, card 3. All right. Okay, pile 1. All right. Trust the timing. Okay. So if you picked pile 1, your biggest area of focus right now, or what's going to take you higher, what it would do well to sit with during this time. First card, trust the timing. So I'll reveal all of them, and then I'll go through and I'll read from the guidebook for each card so we can get into it a little more. But that's your first one. Trust the timing. Second card, which is the key to removing the biggest obstacles right now. Biggest area needing attention. Star ancestors, hidden secrets, lost wisdom. Look a little deeper. All right, and then the expect, what can you expect moving into 2024, or the biggest advice? Cracked open, rock bottom, surrender to the alchemy of life. One of my favorite cards, because every time I pull that card, something good happens after. All right, trust the timing. So often, those who feel like they're here for a reason sense that time is running out, and they spend their life worrying that they might miss their moment. But the only way to miss your life or your moment is to spend your time worrying about missing it. It's never too late to answer a calling, and you're never too old. The tides of your life are magnificently orchestrated to come in and out in perfect unison. Don't race ahead and ride a wave that was never meant for you. You'll waste your precious time and energy when instead you could be enjoying your life. Everything has a season, and you're being called to trust the one you're in. Don't let impatience, comparison, competition, or paranoia disturb the seeds. It seems that everyone has anxiety these days, constantly scanning for something they might have missed or a possible threat. Keeping our mind and body pointed in the same direction as our soul is near impossible at such reactive speeds. Right now, you're being reminded to take a breath and trust the wave you came in on. Trust the season that you're in. Time isn't running out. There's plenty of time. There's no rush, and it is never too late. So that's pretty straightforward. If you got this card or you picked pile 1 and you're wondering what your advice is for the present moment as far as like what it is you need to focus on in order to add a little bit more movement to the things you're trying to do, the answer is within releasing that urgency. It's like a catch-22. Like perhaps you're like, if you picked pile 1 and I said you're gonna know what the focus is, you were like, oh great, I don't know what my focus needs to be because I don't feel like I'm moving in the right direction, or I don't feel like I'm doing things in the right order, or I don't feel like the things that I am doing are leading anywhere. That is what you need to release, because that is the energy that a lot of people are going to find themselves in when we put these kind of like unrealistic timelines on things. It's basically the timeline regularity that we've been conditioned to accept around urgency and how things must go in order to look or be successful. And then the actual timing of what it's going to take out of the soul to slow down and align with a different type of trajectory that's not slower for lack of abundance or prosperity or success, but because it's going to be sustainable and it has a little bit more involved that comes from, again, just seeing, this analogy around a bud or a seed being under the earth before it's ready to grow. So the focus is on like the mental state right now, or your emotional connection to how things are going for you, knowing that you're right on time. And that's really hard to convince ourselves of if we're experiencing some type of fallout or things not working out. Invoke some trust in the things that are crumbling outside of our control, in order to kind of expedite the process of things continuing to fall away so that the new things can fall together. And then in order to remove blocks, we have the Star Ancestors card. So, the ancients knew much more than we do about our connection with the stars. Their pyramids, temples, and other places of worship created in precise alignment with the stars exist in all corners of the world. What if this ancient wisdom is available for you to uncover now? You're being called to think and listen with your ancient heart and soul, to tap into the part of you that remembers and knows. All ancient secrets are whispered forever in your ears. All mystic knowing blooms in your heart. All potent power pumps through your veins. You're being invited to step into your ancient knowingness, to be held by the rememberings of the star ancestors, to look a little deeper. If you're feeling stuck, you're being called to do something different and to change your point of view. Creativity happens when we put together two things that don't belong, when we do the unexpected. So often a creative solution is right in front of us, but because we think the same thoughts and act the same way, we miss what's in the open. You're here to remember and uncover ancient secrets and transmissions, technology and wisdom that are so needed on the planet right now, to unlock your soul's memories of a time when we lived in harmony on Earth and one day will again. The affirmation for this card is, I'm ready to remember ancient mysteries and secrets from deep within. Okay, so in the obstacle position, or the thing that needs focus in order to move ahead, right? There's a difference between focus in a good way that's giving us pure positive energy, which is trust in your timing, and then focus as far as like shadow work and what is not congruent or keeping us stuck. And this one, what I'm sensing and feeling is that there's a lot of like outer manifested byproduct of an internal change. Like you can see in the way that you're doing things that there is a new path opening, available, in support of your highest timeline, but you've reached a point where there still needs to be some type of surrender from old methods into new methods. And that can be hard to do when the new methods aren't there. Like we don't know what we're reaching for in the dark. And that's because they have to come through the lost memories of like your soul wisdom. It's not going to be stuff that you go learn outside of yourself. It's not going to be stuff that you watch like my videos or anybody else's videos to learn about, although those can be supportive. And it's not like found in books. This is really the meditative space that is available to everybody, where you can have deep and profound, visions and dreams, meditations, and ask to connect with a higher part of yourself that's going to help you unlock different like abilities and skill sets. All sorts of things. For me, I think about the apothecary stuff and blending different herbs and powders and roots and oils, and then making like smudging kits and stuff. That comes very naturally to me, but that's not something that I've dabbled with before. And without trusting that it's something of a soul memory and I have the knowledge about that without having done it a lot in this life, there's just this kind of bridging of the gap that we need to do, where it's another level of being able to suspend our own disbelief and allow ourselves to go outside of our comfort zones to integrate the stuff that's it's right there. It's like this buffer keeping us from moving forward. And excuse me, my sneezes are very involved. They like take me out of my body for a minute every time. And completely like wipe me clean of everything I've been thinking of. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, it's like we have this buffer material in front of us, and it's like, this is not something that's blocking us. It's the stuff that we have to integrate. We're meeting it, because in the alchemical dance of letting the things that we bump up against, I see some type of like a goat. No, not a goat. Some type of insect. Maybe this happens on the micro plane, where we've got all those little, what are they called? I can't come up with this. I'm just seeing a bunch of them. Anyway, like almost like mites, right? These little indestructible tiny creatures. So some type of creature where instead of encountering different objects, materials, organic or not, having to go around them, or maybe they can chew through it and eat it, in a position that we're in, there's nothing that will come up against that is going to turn us away. It's simply a matter of, are you integrating it? Are you releasing it? Are you transmuting it? What does it mean? What is the thing that you come up against mean for who you are, how you've been, and what you're going to do now? But more specifically, when it comes to this card and the reason why I'm doing this reading, I think it has to do with continuing to see that old methods of getting things done, are not the methods that are going to work the same way, if at all, for the new plans. And the key is trying to kind of take a step back and give yourself permission to unlock what it is that you have within you, without giving yourself the criticism or the judgment that's very like common, or the self-imposed stuff around like, this is naive or unbased. All the conversations that we can have that tell us this type of delving into the wisdom that lives within you, there's a lot of things that tell us that's not a worthwhile pursuit, right? Unless it's just meditation and mindfulness and regulation. This is much more than that. It's about getting information that's going to help you with your projects and stuff. So if this doesn't resonate with you, then perhaps listen to one of the other piles. But the biggest thing for me with the Star Ancestors card right now in this position is about knowing that there's a little bit more available for your approach with your new ventures. And the reason why you're not moving forward is because you have not seen or illuminated or awakened what it is your abilities are asking, what it is that you need to call back online to your conscious mind from previous lives. And maybe this means for you scheduling some type of Akashic past life regression or session, or getting into that space with yourself and just letting your higher self know, I'm ready to call back whatever ancient lost wisdom, knowledge, and skill sets are available to me in order to move everything along without blocks or obstacles. Bunch of different ways to kind of heed this advice. All right. And so for the advice and moving into 2024, just as a segue, cracked open, what I'm feeling is that doing this type of work, you know, it's like, again, I think I tried to say this the other day, but I'm not sure if I completely finished it as a thought. I was saying it's like hi, sweetheart. Come around this way, hon. Come on over, around. We want to feel at every new level when we're evolving and changing and doing things differently that all of a sudden we'll have like done it, or it will make sense, or we're in the clear. That's very human to have these short-term motivations where we need evidence of progress in order to keep going and stuff. And it's like we are surrendering in this double whammy form right now. I'm like, these two go together. So being cracked open is basically, I've been talking about energy coming into this realm, to our bodies, interrupting the way that things have been, because the container needs to shift and expand to hold newness, to hold new light. To hold new energy. There's not enough space. It can't come in and maneuver. It's got to create more room in an expansion process. So that's happening on this individual level too. I'm going to read from it, but take them as a pair. Don't let the weight and density of the world squash your tender spirit. Instead, let it call more of it home into your body at the center front of your life. It's through the extreme pressure of life's trials that diamonds are cultivated. It's when things are at their darkest that we cultivate proper faith and our light is ignited. It's through the crumbling that we can allow our wounds to be alchemized. Let your pain, sorrow, and losses make you, not break you. Let life alchemize your tragedies into gold. Be open to being cracked open, wide open. It's the difficult times that help us grow in leaps and bounds and in ways that we only could dream were possible. But first, they have to crack us open. Sometimes it hurts like hell. It's nature's way. Whether you let it happen or not, it's going to happen. So surrender to the process. It's how the light gets in. When your heart cracks open, a space is created for your soul to more fully enter. When your soul cracks open, a space is created for the grace of the Holy Spirit to enter. Let your trials, your sorrows, your pains, your losses transform you into more and more of yourself. Stay open to the possibility that your tragedies, losses, sorrows, and hurt happened for you and not to you. Bless the thing that broke you down and cracked you open, because the world needs you open. Surrender to the alchemy of life. Okay, so it's almost cautionary about tower energy, and it's saying your path, knowing that you're on the right path, there's a reason why you're not further along than you are. We have to remind ourselves of this. Everything that motivates you that you haven't yet completed is so that you can still keep moving in a certain direction. If there was no inspiration or thing, stone left unturned, thing yet unaccomplished, I mean, I don't think anybody feels like it's all accomplished because of like the collective state that we're at, I think everybody knows there's like much to do in an exciting way. It's motivating. It's like, wow, there's so much space. If you want to go all businessy on it, there's a niche in the market for healers right now. There is. And I mean, we're still kind of at a place where it's like, is there? Yes, there is. There is. It's going to become very, very apparent in the next few years. And so it's actually quite fine, if you're still in this space where certain things haven't been realized, or you feel like you're in a liminal space of having lots of experiences, lots of spiritual gifts, but it's like being far away from mastery or being able to like monetize them and do different things, right? That's fine, but it's going to require going deeper in a new way. Maybe we were for the whole the first part of the journey going straight, and there's a left-hand turn coming up, and you've never, like Zoolander, can't turn left. Never turned left before. He can only spin right on the runway. We're going to have to do something that we haven't done before. And if we resist that, it might crack us open. Not because the universe and the world is vengeful, but because you're on a path. The universe is overseeing what it is that you were born to do, and you're not unaware of that, right? Deep down, there's a knowing that lies in the soul that is a remembering of the fact that we have picked certain lessons to help us grow and evolve. in the way that we want to, based on what it is we've already experienced and how we fit into the whole. And I'm kind of getting the cautionary thing from the idea that if we are not aware of that and allowing different things to take us left instead of continuing to go straight, maybe the things that change are going to feel like we're being stripped down again in order to remember what's important and where we need to go now and what's available to us, you know, when we are in times of darkness, and it's kind of on you to build yourself back up. I will say this too, because it's coming into my mind around miracles. If we look at the tropes in film and story, if somebody's praying or asking for a miracle, in a lot of cases, if you notice, this is not answered when there's like a glowing, you know, a genie's lamp appears. More often than not, the miracle, the prayer, it's answered when the character, the protagonist, our main guy, has an idea. He's blessed with a divine idea, and like suddenly he's like, oh, I can use the wood and make it go sideways and we will escape that way. Like, a divinely guided miracle is oftentimes, especially because we see it portrayed in all these different stories, it's just an idea. And if we're not open to understanding that maybe there's a big difference between our ideas, or, you know, being able to channel in guidance and allow there for there to be space for that to have some weight and gravity and traction within your mind, so that you can start to strengthen and develop those senses, then things will happen in your life because your spirit wants you to rely on a more clear channel. You see how the light comes through? And the quality of the light that's cracking her open is the same quality of light that exists outside of her. It's supposed to run through you. It's supposed to fuel you and connect you to, the life force energy that unites all things. You're part of it. It's fueling you. You run it through your body like a current. Where we deny it, where we block it, that's where we start to experience disease, stagnancy, and illness. And the more you can keep it flowing through, the more we can heal and continue to expand. Okay, that's it for pile one. This is a transformational set of things. I resonate deeply with pile one. I've already been doing a lot of this like reintegration, where it's like sometimes I get comfy and I'm like, oh, I've got a great set of skills here. Now I just want to chill and acclimate to them. It's like, nope, there are more skills. You have lots of skills. You have a lot of untapped potential. I don't know who you are, but I can guarantee it. Why? Because humans do. The capacity of a single human, the healing capacity, the intellectual capacity, the spiritual capacity to transcend the bounds of the physical human body and do different kind of interdimensional work in a conscious way, that's available to us people. So there's always going to be untapped potential, because what we're designed to do is so much greater than what anybody has ever conceived of, because of the way that we've been living for so many thousands of years. So transformational pile, you guys are in for an exciting transition into 2024 as you start to accept a little bit more of what, you're getting the nudges to do. I hope, if that pile resonates with you, that it excites you and you know that everything that feels intense right now is giving way to awaken more of your calling. So that's great. Okay, pile two, biggest area of focus right now. It says double mission. We saw this somewhat recently. Lightworker starseed, serve the world by being you. That's the biggest focus from now moving into the new year. Biggest area of attention to remove lingering obstacles and blockages. Big picture thinking, Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. Interesting. And then the energy carrying you into the new year are the biggest advice. You're not alone. Isolation, physical community, connection. Sorry, I dyslexicked that. Physical connection, community. All right. Double mission. Lightworker star seeds are mission and purpose oriented. Many have the feeling that time's running out. We just talked about this. There's something that they came here to do, create, or contribute. They're here to grow as souls individually and also to contribute to the planet in some action-oriented way. So you'll have both a joint collective mission that serves the whole, but that is only through your individual template where you have a personal mission or calling. The collective mission is often answered through a career or by devoting their life to something bigger. Until they remember their collective mission, it can feel as if something's missing or that they're forgetting something important. It's common for lightworker starseeds to feel that they're different and they may carry soul memories of being visible or sharing their voice. As such, they may protect themselves by dimming their light in order to fit in or by spending time in some sort of closet, such as a spiritual closet. If you pull this card, you're being called to remember your collective mission and step into it even more fully. You're being reminded that your role as a lightworker is to light up the world with your presence. This doesn't have to be a big, great thing or a decision that you need to make. You also don't need to have a great big plan. If you resonate with being a light worker, all you need to do is work out what lights you up, your passions and joys, and keep doing it. When you trust and follow the simple path of things that light you up, and then you lose yourself in the doing of it, you'll light up the world without even trying. Yeah. I think that that's excellent, like, advice and current energy, the biggest focus, because all it's saying is continue to play and engage with the things that put you in the highest vibrational state possible. And I see that that's like the focus right now. It is more about the self. It talks about collective mission, but if you resonate with pile 2, it's like for a period of time before we move into the new year, you're realigning with the fact that there is a way, or there's a possibility of putting more of your time and energy on those things that, as it said, that light you up without knowing why or how or justifying or rationalizing any part of it. Focus on that, allow yourself to give your energy to it. And then as we get closer to the new year, it will connect you with the ability to do those things with other people, or even like, parallel alongside other people who are also doing those things, even if your things don't intermingle per se, right, in the project practical level, but they could. And I'm getting, though, that there's a difference between now, the focus now, just redefining yourself, your interests, and what it is that you can do in small ways, even if it's just a little bit of time a day, just sprinkling in a little bit more of that like creative play, whatever way that manifests for you, and then moving into being able to do that in a connected way. This card's also going to be more about just what physical connection and community does to the spiritual person and how important it is. That's also a theme I'm going to be talking about in the 2024 forecast reading. So stay tuned for that. But let me get into this card, okay? Big picture thinking, because this is the one that is the most important to heed for clearing blocks right now. Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. The Pleiadians are our cosmic cousins. They're here to remind us that it's never too late to learn new things and change the future. You're being called to be a visionary for the planet. Take a deep breath, shake off what you've been taught about the world, and hold a new vision for humanity. It's that easy. For some reason, I always get visions of myself as like a 1950s housewife with like an apron on doing some type of infomercial. Like, I don't know. I saw one just then, but I don't need to go into that. You're likely a natural big picture thinker. Here to generate ideas for the future. Here to birth a new age and dream a new world into being. The future will be woven by dream makers like you, by those with enough courage to question the way things have been and envision new possibilities for the planet. The world needs more artists, dreamers, inventors, and visionary thinkers. Perhaps you've had an idea recently that you're being called to usher in. If so, this card is your confirmation that it's divinely guided. The Pleiadians support us in this important stage in Earth's development. They want us to know that the decisions we make today will affect the well-being of our planet and all of its species. They're calling on you to be a leader of the future, to hold a clear vision of what's possible, to trust that vision and follow it through with daily action, to dream a new world into being, to hold your mind open and try not to worry about what others think. For it takes great courage to pave a new path, to trust a vision before it's reality. Yeah, and I'm also getting With the first card, it was talking about keeping ourselves stuck, you know, for most of our lives from societal pressures or the judgment of others, being in some type of spiritual closet. That could also be, you know, a sexual identity closet, in the more classic, in the closet, any type of closet. You might be realizing right now, there might be a focus within you that's realizing that you're in a certain closet. And if you weren't, you would be able to engage with these parts of yourself more freely. So it might be asking you to remove some type of label or self, you know, ego, identity, attribution that you've made to yourself, your identity, who you are, how you show up, and how you contribute. Up until this point in your life, it may be asking you to re-examine that. And then with this, I also like that we've got a dichotomy here. Play, remember what lights you up, but it's going to affect the whole world, you know? Something that has a little, you know, no strings attached. It's about play. It's about the moment. It's about you and your time and your energy and how you want to spend it in a way that makes you feel like lighter, you know, doing things for the sake of doing things as well, not doing things to be attached to an end product or a certain level of finished quality. You know, a lot of the times we stop ourselves from doing anything at all because we, quote unquote, don't have enough time to paint the whole picture or play the whole song or write the whole book. Those types of things should never be the thing that holds you back. Again, we had like people feel like they're running out of time. People feel like they're running out of time. That's a very shared, common, collective thing. But never focus on the shared product, you know, like you might say, well, if I don't finish the painting, then no one will ever see it and it can't light up the world. True. However, think more too on the energy mechanics of engaging. Yeah, on the surface human level, maybe the world needs more artists. But what does that mean? It doesn't mean that our walls are all blank and we don't have any paintings. It's not about the product. It's not about the finished product. The world needs more artists because artists are people who don't blindly accept narratives. They're observant. They're interested in knowing what people think and feel because that's the pulse of the climate of the population. Artists go about their way of life differently because it's investigative. Everything is inspiration. A lot of artists will probably agree with that sentiment. And so it's not about the act of producing things or how we deem things good or worthy or this or that. It's about the energy that an artist is in when they're making. Not about, yes, of course, you might make beautiful, inspirational things that will help people. That's good and well. But if you're not at that stage yet, this is important to note because it's about the energy. It's about what it does to your energy when you work or when you engage with the thing that lights you up. I'm also understanding for this pile that there's a certain level of block or stuckness that might be coming from a lack of understanding how these two are going to connect. The thing that you want to do and how it's going to serve the world, that is to be released right now because of what I was just talking about. You know, there's going to be more steps that fall into place in the perfect time of it all. You're not meant to know right now exactly how it's going to look. Things will absolutely, mark my words, come back in 6 months and watch this video to hear me say it again, look different 6 months from now. Things will look different in a pretty major way for a lot of people 6 months from now. I'm going to be talking about why I believe that in my 2024 forecast video. So again, stay tuned for that. And this one says, you're not alone. The older soul, the older the soul, oh my God, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Take two. The older the soul, the deeper the cave. Many starseeds and old souls enjoy their own company. Spending time alone can be comforting and necessary for their vitality as it allows them to commune with their soul and fill up their energetic resources, especially if they have an underactive or open root chakra or find it hard being human. Many starseeds find it more nourishing to retreat than to spend time in meaningless conversations and relationships. However, we must remember that we're not here to go about this life alone. Humans are pack animals, and we all need love, company, and the support of others. both emotionally and physically. In our increasingly online world, we can be connected to more people than ever and feel more alone and isolated than ever. There's still so much we don't know about the energetic side effects of things like social media, and with so many people knowing our news, what is it doing to our auric field? I can tell you that. What it does, this is why I firmly disagree with posting young children on social media. Do as you will. I don't have anything against young parents or mothers or anybody who puts pictures of their children on social media, but you're opening up your very vulnerable, defenseless, who has no say in it, child or baby, for other people to see them as if they were seeing them in person and attach their energy, their judgment, their this, their that, their whatever. Humans are triggerable. I'm not saying that people are going to look at the child and be like, hating on them like an internet troll, but you simply can't control what it is that is elicited within any number of beings when they look at or see something. Take the news, for example. Something wildly controversial comes out and you get a bunch of different reactions. They're all attaching their energy to the issue. This is how we, the stirring of the soup, as I mentioned in old videos, like this is how we get wrapped up via attention on things. So it is my personal opinion that the things that you put out on social media, you need to be okay with strangers at the end of the day. I guess if you have private accounts, then you know that they're not strangers, but still, even people who may have thoughts or connections unbeknownst to their conscious mind that are not of benefit to, I just don't think it's ethical, to be honest. That's a side opinion that nobody asked for, but the card said, what is it doing to our auric field? It's allowing us to be a lot more interconnected and accessed remotely energetically. I think this is the presence of social media and the internet has amplified humans' ability to understand that they can connect with one another remotely across time and space, because instead of just sitting there and being like, yes, William has popped into my mind. I don't know anybody with that name except for every male in my extended family. Just an example, okay? Maybe he's thinking of me too. Now you don't have to wonder, because you're going to get a text and your suspicion is confirmed. He was thinking of you, whatever it is. But I think there's been a funny energetic byproduct where we haven't even really noticed that it's intensified the latent human ability to connect remotely with people just by knowing, having tangible evidence that we can and are connected to each other across great time and space. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents about letting oneself and the details of one's life be vulnerable to other people's attachment via social media. Commonly, we find ourselves in constant conversation, yet lacking the genuine connection of physical community and touch. The main message of this card is to step out of your cave and physically reach out to those in your life, to replenish when you need to, but not isolate yourself. This could be seeing friends and family who live nearby, or having a regular catch-up walk with someone. In what ways can you open yourself up to the people who are physically in your life, and to those who truly know? And to those you truly know. So that's the energy moving into 2024 here, pile 2. And what I'm getting is that, and I relate to this pile too, I kind of think that with the themes going on here, it's like with new projects, with new ways of being, with new identities, like imagine that you were coming out of the closet spiritually or sexually or whatever it is, that would probably create a lot of shakeup in your life. And it would probably mean that you're going to be looking for like new people to be around, or say that your closeted creative passion is yoga. That's the thing that lights you up. It makes you feel good to do it. It makes you feel good to talk about it, share with it. Maybe you want to become a yoga teacher. But you have nobody in your life that does it already, or you're not connected to a community. It's like a phase 1, phase 2, connecting more, admitting to ourselves where there's no longer room in our life to keep entertaining certain things, clearing that out so that we can, and that could be entirely non-physical. It could just be ways of thinking that are not really going to work anymore, that are based off of old ways of doing things. And then engaging with that, giving yourself permission to detach from the timeline of why it is you're doing what you're doing, or the end product of why it is you're doing what you're doing. And then the people will come. And then the people will come. And I love the internet for the purpose of being able to connect with people. I think it's pretty obvious when I talk about certain things, or when I give disclaimers around like, you know, I don't know, feeling like I've had certain ideas that have just been rejected for a long time, or always carrying, you know, working on the PTSD of like, will people think I'm insane? Do people think I'm crazy? Unfortunately, a lot of people do. Yeah, they're just not my audience. No, that's okay. I have to be okay with that. There's something similar going on here where it's like, just because you haven't been around people who agree with you or validate you or are doing the same things as you or are interested in the same things as you, doesn't mean they're not out there. It's just indicative of how much you've vibrated with, you know, your true core soul essence that's going to allow more people who are similar to that to come to you. If you're not in alignment with it, then you're not able to magnify in other people that are in alignment with it. But when you do, and you start to on this individual level, then they naturally will come to you. So there's a focus on being in a community, a sense of community. And I love that it talks about the internet versus the in-person, because there can be all types of internet communities, but nothing really replaces the ability to go be with people in person, and the energy of a collective who's moving in the same direction. Very powerful stuff. So I hope that that has helped you, pile 2, to get a little bit of clarity. Pile 3. Pile 3. Current focus, pile 3. Whale and orca elders. We love them. Share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. Look how pretty. Current focus. Biggest thing for removing obstacles. It says, wait, it's not yet time. Things are being woven. So again, I'm getting immediately just this urgency or this lack of trust. Maybe you're not waiting in areas where you should be right now. And then moving into 2024, or the advice says karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. Okay. Whale and orca elders. The whale and orca elders are benevolent cosmic beings here to anchor a frequency of love onto the planet, to harmonize it with their song. As they weave around the oceans, they do so much more than any of us know. Their physical presence affects Earth's magnetic field, and their harmonics call us to wake up and remember our own soul's song. Looking into the eye of a whale is something you'll never forget. Whales see into your very being, and in an instant you're changed forever. They see beyond the physical, the woundings, the identity, the personality, the story. They see right into your soul. If you pull this card, you're being called to surrender to your deepest truth and share it with potency, to bow to who you truly are, to stretch your heart wide enough to hold it all, to leave your fears, doubts, and baggage at the door, to question any part of you that doesn't feel good enough. The whale and orca elders want you to give others the privilege of seeing who you truly are. That was beautifully phrased. I'm going to say it again. The whale and orca elders want you to give others the privilege of seeing who you truly are, and for you to see the same in other beings, to drop your hang-ups and personality flaws and get busy revealing the unique note your soul came here to sing. Allow the song that echoes in the 4 chambers of your heart to emanate in all 4 directions. Peel back the layers of suffering and pain and reveal to others your soul's true song. Endeavor to see the soul of all those you meet. Okay. Something that I'm being guided to share is that there's so many tracks on YouTube or even Apple Music and Spotify. You can search for whale sounds. They're not just to the naked ear the most melodic. You know, they sound, it's like Dory in Finding Nemo, like, but if you are somebody who has certain kinds of past life energy, or just maybe if you're a water sign, or if you have water placements, or if you like the water, or if you resonate with the spirit animal energy of whales and dolphins, you might do well to look up some of those tracks and listen to them. Sometimes when I'm painting, all I listen to is whale sounds. And again, it's not like you're listening to it because you're like vibing to it. It's because it does something to you. It changes the way that my energy feels, and it turns hours into minutes. It's very interesting. It's very interesting what it does to my creative flow. And it's very interesting, as the book said, what it reawakens, right? We think about whales and aquatic animals, like their consciousness is animal, but there's a spiritual, like a lot of old souls from other parts of our universe might reincarnate here. Instead of being you or I, they'll become a whale. There's a lot of divine wisdom held in the big aquatic beings of the oceans. They're the closest to these currents in the waters, meaning they never get out. It's not like the whales come on Earth every now and then. They're always in there singing their songs, regulating the energy of those waters with their harmonics. They're totally doing things like almost in a way you could consider like extraterrestrials coming down to prevent evil people from blowing up the world. The whales are doing similar things. And so I believe that it could help people who resonate with pile 3. In order to reconnect with what it is it's asking you to reconnect with, could be beneficial to listen to whale sounds. All right, let's get into this weight card. In our fast, loud, reactive, comparative world where an instant response is so often expected and at times even a currency, it can feel almost impossible to take a breath, let alone give ourselves the space to rest, wait, and reset. We're so often in overdrive, expecting instantaneous results over and over and over again. When guidance doesn't come at these extreme speeds, it can feel as though something's gone wrong. But often, not receiving guidance is guidance in itself. When you ask for guidance and don't receive it, it can often mean wait. It's not time yet. The details are being woven. Our challenge is to keep trusting when on the surface it appears that nothing is happening. To remember that no matter how long or bitter the winter, spring does always come. To remember that you don't need to solve all of the world's problems in a single day. Perhaps they'll be better solved with some perspective and a good night's sleep. This card is your permission to slip, to slow down, to switch off and rest. You're being reminded to have patience and trust the mystery of life, to trust that things are being woven on your behalf. It may not be happening in the timeline that you'd like, but if you gather up the patience, it will be orchestrated better than you can ever imagine. What I'm getting with this one is that something has given way from October until now. And there's a lot of energy potentials. I talked about this 2 weeks ago. Energy potentials to be harnessed in order to co-create and manifest new things that we want. And if you're resonating with this pile, maybe the situation is that you've experienced that and things have taken something of a positive turn, or if they haven't fully positively turned yet, you've harnessed some type of motion to create a positive turn that hasn't panned out yet. And because of the positive shift in the energy potentials, we might have fooled ourselves into, or our ego, mind, and mental scripting made us think that because that felt different and we had a new way or a new thought or a new something, that it meant that something was going to keep happening a certain way. But we're at this point, this is very convoluted, forgive me. Hopefully it will make sense with you if it resonates with you, but it's like we wanted, because we had that little, I see like a little gust of wind lifting a leaf up, okay? So the wind came in and it lifted us up, and then it's kind of lifted us up to kind of sit in this little alcove, this little rocky outcropping in this boulder. We've gone into a different perch to rest and wait and recalibrate, and the block is thinking that is the stagnancy that's going to prevent it from continuing, when really it's the stagnancy that is in some divinely orchestrated method that we're unaware of or unable to see right now. It's necessary for the furthering and the development of what it is that you got gusted up with the wind to expand and grow with. This is the type of advice that nobody wants to hear, because it's not about fixing or doing anything different at all. It's about accepting. Oh yeah, karmic relationships. Karmic relationships. See what it has to tell us. The constellation Orion is thought by many to have been a place of great polarity and eventual unity. Some believe that many starseeds who were part of this cosmic history are incarnate on Earth now and are playing out karmic relationships from Orion times. Perhaps you're one of them. Polarity causes conflict and heightens separation. However, because of this, conflict can also result in unity and growth. Too many misunderstandings are caused when we don't open our heart and mind and see things from a different point of view. When we go into reactive, second-guessing mode instead of gathering the courage to open our heart, we should admit that we may have reacted because of our own woundings and then find mutual ground. We're all innocent children looking to be seen, understood, and cherished. It's much harder to grow closer through conflict than it is to grow further apart, and yet that's the invitation of conflict. It's easy to react and take things personally. It's more challenging to see the innocence of all involved and find a way to grow closer through the conflict. It's through relationships that we grow the most. How can you soften your heart and drop your defenses enough to see things from a different point of view? How can you see the innocence of all involved? How can you learn to see the similarities rather than the differences? Okay, pile 3. What I'm getting with this, as we move into 2024, if you didn't listen to some of the other piles, you don't have to, that's fine. But there were a little bit of kind of parallel themes in those two piles around like making sure that you've removed the things, the people, the patterns, the thought processes, the activities that do not serve you. That's always a theme. It's the nature of shadow work, and it's the nature of a spiritual expansion and an ascension journey to always have new things coming up in that spot to be purged out, right? Even with the chakras, it's not like you clear them once and you're this shiny flute that's clear for all of time. There's a maintenance involved with keeping ourselves in balance, because it's never, perfectly attainable if we fall stale on what it requires to be in that state of balance, and knowing the subtleties of what it takes to like maintain a vibration that is autonomous and secure without taking on, even when you're very empathic and compassionate, without taking on the energies, or when you do, knowing that they're not yours, releasing them, not letting them attach to you and start to change the way that it is that you're feeling and thinking. So with this card as the energy that's taking pile 3 people into the new year, what I'm getting is that it's a little bit different. It's not about making sure that the things that you don't want or that there's not enough space for in order to honor the new is gone. It's asking you to take another look at some of the things that you might be calling not fit for you. Take another look at those things and make sure that you've learned the lesson that they were placed in your path to teach you. This is kind of like a faux pas along the spiritual journey, or something that people can get stuck in sometimes, where we might say, I'm just trying to set boundaries. I don't want I have the right to walk away from this person or this thing. There are karmic contracts in our lives where sometimes if we can't separate ourselves from something, or it's part of our life for a reason, we need to look at that with more compassion and see other people as we would see ourselves. In that, everybody just wants to be loved, cherished, seen, and understood. At the end of the day, people who can't, admit that or understand that are shrouded in their own wounding, preventing them from being able to understand that they don't have that or feel it. And so they're preventing themselves from being able to realize that, really. But I think that it's a call to re-examine any type of challenging point of contention in your life as you move into the new year, focusing on a new identity that's very much based in like divine timing, really. Letting things be as they are, waiting for the next gust of wind that's going to take you, you know, higher, allowing yourself to sync up. Okay, another message for pile 3 is that with this orcas and whales, their time, just like trees, I identify with the energy of the cedar tree from past life energy. Trees, whales, these are big bodies, right? They move, their passage of time, it's like it's different. So there's this desire with both of these cards, weight and the orcas and the whales. There's this desire for pile 3 people right now, moving into the new year, to slow all the way down and understand that you're, again, with the themes in this reading, you're right where you're meant to be. The skills that you want to use that aren't fully baked are coming to you. The more patient you are and the more you engage with what you already have as far as skills without judging. And then as, So it's like your guidance until the new, 1:01:11. Excuse me, 11:11. Well, it's an hour, a minute, and 11 seconds, but it was 11:11. Your advice is to ride the wave, right? But here's the thing. In order to ride the wave, say the wave is like this. The guy's riding the wave for surfing. To ride the wave, you don't sit tight and lock up and not move, right? His board, the surfer would fall. Riding the wave takes a lot of dynamic, subtle shifts to stay engaged with the proper athletic stance that's going to keep you on the wave. So it's a passive waiting. I'm sorry, it's an active, what do you call this? What do you call this type of motion? It's an active, like in school when they talked about like, can anybody tell me what active listening is? So that all the kids weren't just sitting there zoning out. It's like, well, you listen and then you have to say it back in the same words and then you take notes, whatever. You know what I mean? It was this tactic that they talked about in school called active listening. Active waiting in this mode it's like the spiritual muscles of starting to rely on certain things that you have going on that come first. Not because everyone else can suck it or, excuse me, but because that's your priority. You are you. Why are you going to prioritize someone else's stuff? You are you. You are living your life. You're allowed to, prioritize self, make your own decisions, and change what that means for you going into a new year. And I get with these cards that the universe is going to be asking you to do that, or at least take another look at it. And then what's going to happen is that you're going to be realizing that there are certain things that are no longer in harmony as a result of that reassessment, realignment, and the changes that you've been making all throughout 2023. And instead of, this could go a couple different ways. So maybe in scenario 1, there's a person who's been in denial and they want to get space from a certain thing or person or habit, but it's still functioning for them because they have not integrated something within themselves that continues to play off of the dynamics that are unhealed from both parties' parts in it. And that's not like a blaming guilt thing or like a shame thing. It's just about what we've manifested and what we're learning from and what we incarnate intending to learn as well. Kind of the larger karmic picture that we might not understand. We might not understand. Sometimes karma in this life feels very imbalanced or very unjustified because there's something from a different life that's playing out. Okay. All right, pile 3, I hope that was clarifying for you. I hope that everybody's doing well. I like that there were some certain kinds of commonalities within these 3 piles, and I'm not really getting any more guidance as far as like extended, email me for a follow-up. If you want more information, there's none to be had. That was fairly succinct. But like I said, I've got a lot of messages. I'm just tending to my various gardens and projects and whatnot back up in the studio. been down in the living room for a little while. Every now and then this space like edges me out because I get overwhelmed and I need to step away from it. I have a lot of stuff going on up here in my art studio where I do my readings. And it's a transformational time. So I hope that everybody's doing well. Another thing that I'm going to do after I post this video, well, I guess they'll post at the same time, I'm going to do an energy alignment with a light language transmission for anybody who is interested in that. So look for that too. Okay. Hope everyone's good.